Live from the Rant Radio Network,
You're listening to Real Estate Rant with your host, Alex Alanis.
and your co-host, Mr. Alonso Rodriguez.
No problems, just solutions for real estate needs, hot topics, and controversial chat. Rant here at the towers of the Rant Radio Network. I don't know, did that come out, Mr.
Yeah, it came out
Pantalones?
good.
Thank
It
you,
came
sir.
out good.
All right. I'm
Welcome.
your host, Mr. I'm sorry?
Oh,
I'm
go
your
ahead.
host. Thank you, sir. I'm your host, Mr. Alex Alanis. And to my left here, my broker, Mr. Alonso Rodriguez from AGR and Associates. And I don't know, I'm losing myself there. You catching me there?
Yeah, I could hear you fine.
Here at the towers of
The
the
Rant Radio Network. Welcome to another episode of the most exciting show you'll ever hear.
The foundation here in the city of Whittier, local show. Thank you, sir. In house today, we have representatives from First American Title Company, our esteemed guests. When I say Mr. Lee Wilson, welcome, sir. How are
Welcome,
you?
Mr. Lee.
Thank you. Good to be here.
And Mrs. Lisa Lombardi.
Thank you.
Welcome, Lisa.
All right, on and Patty, and let me see if I'm saying this right. Tardanian.
Tartadian.
Tartadian.
Tartadian. Oh, see, I didn't use the T. See, that's not good.
Just call her Patty. Just call her Patty.
Yeah, just let's keep to Patty.
I'll just stick to Patti. How about that? Okay.
I like that.
Give us a call 855-693-4897, or you can email us at realestaterantradio@gmail.com. Again, that number is 855-693-4897. If you happen to be listening to the show, you can give us a call, win a $25 gift card to Stevens Steakhouse, or you can win a $200 teeth whitening to Gardens Dental.
That's terribly sexy.
Exactly, at 7218 Garfield Avenue in the city of Bell Gardens. If you happen to call in and ask myself, Alonso, or one of our esteemed guests a question, you can win one of those gift cards, or we can throw up the design deal, if you may, Mr. Pantalones. If you happen to guess what kind of house this is, and we are doing multiple choice now, thanks to Claudia here at the station. If you happen to get what particular house this is, you can win one of those gift cards. Any idea what kind of house that is, folks? Don't answer out loud. But any idea? Do you know what kind of house that is?
I said last week I thought it was a White House. Oh, no, that's not the White House one. That's a different one, right?
It looks like it, doesn't
It
it?
looks like a celebrity house.
It does. I think that's in Southern California, but there is
Or Queen Slater.
it is a multiple answer question. So if somebody happens to get that, you can give us a call 855-693-4897. Every week we have questions and answers coming in to us by email for folks that I don't know, maybe they're too shy to call in or something. Who knows? They can email us at realestaterantradio@gmail.com, and we'll get to their questions in subsequent shows. What did we get this week, Mr. Alonso?
This week's question comes from Christina out of Santa Ana, and it says, what is a good faith estimate, and how does it help me?
A good faith estimate.
Yeah, it's kind of a lender question, but I mean,
I wish we had a lender on the show today.
what is a good faith estimate? You want to break it down, Alex? It lists all the paid items that you're gonna be acquiring. You know, when you're closing your closing costs. So I mean,
Well, let's take us back, Alonso. I started real estate in 1988. I'm trying to remember if there was even such a thing as a good faith estimate. I think that borrowers, when they go to talk with lenders, the lender used to tell them, yeah, your closing costs are going to be, and they'd be shooting off the hip, right, Lee? I mean, you're shaking your head.
You're shaking a hand.
Yeah.
You shake your head. So, okay.
Yeah, exactly.
well, and that's why
have a
now
question.
and that's why now it's an actual requirement. You get a good faith estimate. The lender must apply within 3 days. Of your application, so you can make adjustments. I mean, you can make a judgment call when you're shopping for a home loan, and that's what basically the good faith estimates are for.
Right on. Can I get you guys to squeeze in just a bit, because I'm noticing there. There you go. I just want to get you all in the frame there. So a good faith estimate at the end of the day is a
It's a breakdown of all your costs.
penny for penny of what the lender is estimating what their cost is going to be to buy a particular home. And granted, it's never the same as. Well, I don't think I've ever seen it being the same. It's never the same as the actual closing, but it's usually very close.
Well, it's just like it said, it's an estimate. So it's an estimate in good faith.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, exactly what it's called. Lenders are required to give that disclosure out now by law, and there's also a bunch of other disclosure that has to come out from the lenders. You're smiling, Patty. Is that?
Because it's true. You got to know what all those fees are on your settlement statement and also your good faith estimate.
Right on. Are you a homeowner?
No, I'm not, but I've actually got to see a lot of those settlement statements and the good faith when I was doing escrow.
Oh, nice. Okay. Now, I'm curious now, do the title companies see the good faith estimate? Do you guys ever have a need to see that stuff?
No, no.
Yes.
They may provide it. Escrow may provide it accidentally, but normally we don't see that now.
Oh, nice.
Unless
Okay.
it's questioned possibly where their fee may be different than what we're charging to what they may have been provided on the good faith
How,
estimate.
how about when you're competing? Like nowadays, you got to compete, and you say, Mr. Lee, well, look at this title company is charging me a little less. Can you help me out so we can?
We're bound by our schedule of fees. I'd love to help you out, but we're bound by our schedule
So
of
that
fees.
doesn't
It
happen
is what it
anymore,
is.
huh?
It is what it is.
Yeah, because I always get borrowers talking about, or even sellers for that matter. They try I was just about to say something else. They try to get us down on our fees, right? So when they're looking at the good faith estimate, they say, well, wow, this is a lot for the title or escrow fees. So they want to try and shop around. And those fees are pretty solid. I mean, escrow fees not so much, right? But the title fees.
Yeah, we're pretty much all about the same. I'm sure there'll be slight variations based on the loan amount, but it's usually a couple of dollars here and there. So there's really, I guess we all have to compete. So obviously our scheduled fees would be compatible with everyone else. So.
Nice, nice. Was that the only question we had?
Well, there's another one. Do we have time for another one?
Yeah, we got time.
This one comes out of Tracy out of Escondido, and it says, "How can I find out information about my credit history?"
I love this question. You know why? Because I absolutely hate all those free websites. Because you know what? They'll give you your credit history, but they don't tell you your FICO score.
Agreed.
Right?
Totally.
Yeah.
Yes.
And I get people, they come up and say, hey, Alex, what do you think about my credit? And it's like, well, I don't know. I don't do loans, right? So that's the first thing I tell them. But the other thing is when I send them to somebody that does, they have to pull their credit anyway. So,
But just for a regular consumer trying to find out their credit history, I mean, you could go through the three credit bureaus and they'll provide you with a free copy of one each year. You get a free copy, and the three major credit companies are Equifax, Experian, and TransUnion. So it's as easy as picking up the phone and requesting one.
yeah, if you type any of those names into the internet, there'll be plenty of information that pops up. As a matter of fact, you can pay a small fee and onto their websites, and you can get your credit history on their websites. But you're right, you can get it for free.
And then anytime you get pre-qualified, your lender's gonna pull your credit, so you can ask them for a copy. He might charge you a couple bucks, $5 to $25, depending on.
That much?
Well, that's what I've gotten feedback. Mind you, I'm not a lender, but I did practice lending back in the day, so kind of know a little bit about it.
Real quick, just a matter of mention, Real Estate Rant and AJR and Associates.
Show me some respect, boy.
Yeah, exactly. Real Estate Rant and AJR and Associates are proud sponsors of Michael Aguilar and Associates and Stroke Awareness. You can reach their website at www.strokeawareness101.com, or you can email Michael at michaelpaguilar@hotmail.com. And also, I just recently applied for the Uptown Association, Uptown of Whittier. So,
Oh, it comes to remind me, I got something by mail. I'll
By
talk to
mail?
yeah, it's a actual business license for the city of Whittier.
you got it?
Yeah, I got it. It went to my address now. Oh,
Did you bring with you?
it's in the car. I'll
Oh,
give you
okay.
later.
Well, make sure you give it to me. Give us a call, 855-693-4897. You can give myself, Alonso, or our esteemed guest, Lee, Lisa, or Patty, a question and win a $25 gift card to Steven's Steakhouse or a $200 teeth whitening. And I've actually had that done. It's like 2 days of pain after. You ever had teeth whitening done?
Oh my God, it hurts really bad.
I mean, not during.
Not during, but
Yeah.
afterwards, your mouth is just like,
Yeah, I think they call it galvanic shock. But anyway,
Yes.
to make an interesting point, that was it's $200 worth of pain, right? That comes along with if
But it
you
was
happen to want
beautiful.
that. Well, some people call in and they're not hungry; they want the teeth whitening. So what can I do? Alonso always gives me a little bit of flack about giving out those cards. So he says I'm a little tight-fisted.
well, your
No?
teeth look nice.
Oh, I appreciate that. I just got my braces off actually. Trying to straighten those out exactly. So anyway, we did. I don't know if you guys noticed, but I just did an announcement for the stroke awareness, and we had Michael Aguilar on the show, and
Excellent.
yeah, exactly. Mike actually had a stroke two years before, but he used to be in the real estate business, And so we covered the stresses of realtors. You know, it was an interesting show. Anyway, Lee, Lisa, and Patty are here to talk to us about title. And you know what? I'm not sure I'm reading the clock right, Mr. Army. How are we looking here on time? Okay, we got about 2 minutes. So why don't we start with a quick question about title? Because just because I'm a layman in this area or this field, exactly. What is title insurance? Why don't we start with that?
Is that title insurance for $500?
Just for anything. I mean, it doesn't really matter. Let's start with that. $500. Why not? You know.
Simple answer would be it's an indemnity between our insured, which is normally either a buyer and or a lender, and ourselves to protect against any type of loss against title to their property. Pretty much simple. We can define what losses are after the break or whatever to go into some of the meeting. But it's simply said, when I probably started in the business way back in 1977, it was probably known as backwards insurance.
Well, Lee, you don't look that old.
Okay, you guys win. It was known as backwards insurance because basically we insured up to the time that you actually acquired the property. If anything happened after that, it really wasn't insured. So it was. And we're going back to 1977. It's definitely
So it's the reverse of that now, right?
right.
Well,
It's basically expanded now. So yes.
I read something on the website last night, and it said that title insurance goes way back since Abraham Lincoln was around, and believe it or not, one of his homes got taken from him for not having title insurance.
Abraham Lincoln?
He didn't have a clear title, and they took his home twice.
You're kidding me.
That's what I read. I mean, that's look it up in Wikipedia. I mean, don't take my advice.
And it was
just,
on the internet, so it must be right.
yeah. So it's something I read. I just thought it was.
What are your thoughts on that, Lee?
Oh, good for you.
No, our company is probably 110, 120 years old, so that's about as far as we go back. So I don't think it goes back much farther than that, but I'm sure that it probably was a case that if you did have title insurance, that he probably wouldn't have lost his home because of certain situations. So that's probably where it was kind of going with the importance of having title
And
insurance.
that's exactly where it was gonna go. We'll be right back. Stay tuned. Don't touch that mouse. Stay tuned. We'll be right back with some more real estate rant.
Are you watching the game at home? Why? Come watch it at Mambo Grill, the hottest spot in Downey. You'll have good food, drinks, and a great time at a low price. We have the coldest beer in our sports bar, where you can enjoy the game on any of our huge flat screen TVs. And when your home team wins, you get 25% off anything in Mambo Grill. We're on Downey Avenue, 1 block north of Firestone, or visit us on the web. Mambo Grill, love at first bite.
Do we have your attention? When it comes to tequila, 2 things matter: heart and passion. Never compromising integrity for mass production. Number 1 Tequila delivers the goods. Taste the heart and passion of Mexico in every bottle. We make it right. We make it fun. Superior Tequila. There's only number 1. There's only number 1. There's only number 1.
Been in an accident? Then you need your vehicle professionally repaired. That's exactly what you get when you bring your vehicle to Greg's Auto Body Repair. Free quotes within minutes. We will provide everything you need for a hassle-free auto body repair, from an accurate estimate to working with your insurance company. We will get your vehicle to its pre-accident condition as soon as possible. Greg's Auto Body has been serving Los Angeles County and local cities since 1970. Call us at 562-789-1300.
A home is the biggest investment in most people's lives. Buying or selling should be a positive experience.
Whether you want to be a wealthy real estate investor or just trying to find a place to call home, at AJR & Associates, we focus on the client's needs.
We understand the market better than most. Let us bring the value to you and make the right choice.
AJR & Associates, making your dream house a reality. Call us today for a free consultation at 562-882-1976. Or you can log on to www.hrrealtors.com.
With a track record of great results, bringing knowledge, wisdom, and expertise to you. Hablamos español. Live from the Rant Radio Network,
You're listening to Real Estate Rant with your host, Alex Alanis.
and your co-host, Mr. Alonso Rodriguez.
No problems, just solutions for real estate needs, hot topics, and controversial chat. Oh, and we're back. Thank you, Mr. Pantalones. Back to Real Estate Rant here at the Rant Radio Network, the towers, or what we call the rarefied grounds.
The stomping grounds.
Yeah, the stomping grounds.
I'm ready to I'm ready to jump out the building right now with our engineer. You know what's going on with our engineer?
I don't know. Give us a call, 855-693-4897, or you can email us at realestaterantradio@gmail.com. In-house today, we have First American Title Company. We have Lee Wilson, Operations Manager, Lisa Lombardi, Senior Account Executive, and Patty, and I'm going to screw this up again.
Just call
Tar-
me Patty. That's fine.
Just Patty. No. I want to say it right.
Tartadian.
Tartadian.
Or you can call her Patty Rio.
Yeah, I like that better.
Is that married name? Is that-
Yeah, that was a married name. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Patty Rio. Well, now that
Yeah,
I'm getting
married
Tartanian
name.
right, finally.
Not me, though.
She's an account executive, and you can actually reach Lisa, and I believe this is your number, 562 area code 572-4616. Lisa will tend to all of your title needs, and we're here to talk about title today. I want to know what you guys do.
Well, well, what we do is we really, we help the agents. We want to bring value to the agents, and what we do is we teach them the tools that First American has. We have our My First AM app, and what helps them with their property profile searches, and also to pull up, deeds, grant deeds, quit claims, and then also find out the history of the whole property, and also to find out if the property is in notice of default. And also we have another program called Cost First. So we give them different tools to help them when they're out there in the field, helping the consumer and helping, their homeowner.
Well, there you have it. I think that was the whole show right there in a nutshell. You actually said a lot there, because you talked about the history. Now, there's a name for that. Mm-hmm. And am I right about this? Is chain of title?
Chain of title.
And maybe, Lee, can you expand on that a little bit?
Well, chain of title is basically, and there's a couple of different manners in which documents are actually posted every day in the counties. One was a grantor grantee, the other one's a geographical plan by lot and tract. Chain of title is, for our purposes, to provide title insurance. We're basically going back to the beginning of, in theory, going back to the beginning of Los Angeles County and moving forward, checking the chain of title for any type of defects, make sure the deeds actually match up for every transactions that happens until today. So included in the chain of title could be grant deeds, could be deeds of trust, could be notice of default, liens, notice of actions.
What are some common problems that you see arising from title, in your experience?
In the currently there's a lot of fraud going on right now, and it's to the point where it's to the point.
So that's
cha-ching, yeah.
That's why it's really important to know who
that
you should get a title insurance. You want to make sure the owner is the owner selling.
Yeah, that ka-ching isn't really going our way right now. I think the ka-ching is going to the bad ways right now. But there's a lot, and a lot of it has to do with families. It's family members sometimes. Within the families, you got two people executing a grant deed, and all of a sudden there's a third person we don't know of or whatever, and they just happen to come up after we insure a transaction. They say, "Hey, what about me? I was part of this too." So that's one thing that we run into a lot of problems with. Trust agreements; those seem to be, everyone was pushing to put people in trusts to protect themselves, but we found that some parties get a little carried away with the trust documents, and the successor all of a sudden is claiming the mother is either dead or incompetent, and then borrowing money, and we find out later that the mother is not incompetent.
Perfectly fine, huh?
Yeah, perfectly fine. So it's a chase sometimes, but I think we do a pretty good job with close. There's a lot of transactions that close in Los Angeles every day without any issue, but we're starting to see more and more the fraud where the parties are actually becoming very creative. And when I started a long time ago, I don't think I'd ever know each one of the DAs in each one of the counties almost personally to talk about these kind of things. But that's kind of where it's at right now.
Wow. Wow, that's nuts. When we started talking about that a little bit the other day, being in the industry and not knowing that on my end as a realtor, it becomes important now to look through all the information that's coming from you. So one of the things that comes from you now when we start a transaction is the preliminary title report. And can I look at the prelim and say, this is pretty much what you're looking at as well on your end, or is there more information in the background?
Well, that's kind of the final report that's done.
Lisa, were you going to say something?
Right. Go ahead,
Okay.
Lisa. Did you want to answer this one? I'll be glad to.
No, I was just gonna. I mean, obviously, with the title officer, you guys are looking at the same thing as what we're looking at.
So on the prelim, everything that I'm seeing on the prelim, that's what you guys are looking at, is like your underwriters. That you're looking at exactly the same thing. So if something happens to pop up later on, and this is why they have to sign off on it, right?
Well, that's why we update the prelim right before it's ready to close again.
Right. The prelim is
okay.
basically our written information based on the chain of title. We've searched the chain of title, and the prelim comes out, and that's basically what our results are. So what we show in the preliminary title report is what the title officer is going to look at to close the transaction. Obviously, there could be some red flags in there. We actually show a 24-month chain of title of all the deeds that have been recorded in the last 24 months, which is kind of a red flag if you see multiple transfers. We're not going to make a statement on that, but that is one of the red flags that you could actually look at when you're looking at a preliminary title report. Is the transaction a rush? We're finding out more and more that people that are in a hurry, that's kind of a red flag now. Why are they in a hurry? Why is it a 10-day escrow ready to close? Let's go. And obviously the buyer must look at the prelim, and it's very important that they actually look at that and understand what it says, because there's a lot of important items on there that not only you as a realtor or broker need to look at, but the buyer also needs to know and understand what they're looking at.
And as my understanding, title insurance is a requirement for the lender. But how about people that are purchasing their homes cash and they don't get the title insurance? That's a big mistake, right?
Yeah, that's a great question, and yes, you're right. That's a huge mistake.
Is that even possible?
Huge mistake.
Is that even possible? You
Yeah,
can buy
'cause you
property
can-
without title insurance?
You
You
could.
can-
If you're paying cash for it,
Right.
my understanding, you could.
Really?
Well, part of your purchase contract, your car contract, actually states for a fact that the ALTA, CLTA homeowners policy is to be issued. So you basically have to amend your car contract to take that out. It is possible that you can purchase your property without title insurance. Yes.
That's correct when you're writing it on a standard form. But I've dealt with some investors in the past
Right.
that were buying on they were not regular car forms. They were regular land contracts.
Right.
And that's where they got into issues where they were buying homes. They weren't insuring them, and then they were out and reselling the grant deeding them over to a third party, and that's when the problem arose when someone else popped out on the title that wasn't insured, obviously. So it became a big old headache.
Right.
Attorneys were involved in trying to unravel the whole mess. It's
Right.
became a nightmare.
One of the auction sites that's on the internet that sells a lot of the bank-owned properties, part of that transaction, this title insurance is not provided. And they will get a quick claim deed rather than a grant deed when they purchase the property. So the lenders that's been foreclosing and trying to get farther and farther divested away from these properties. But there's no title for that. A lot of people are paying cash and no policy of title insurance.
And just for all the regular laymen out there, it's not a smart thing to do. You don't cut corners, especially when it comes to title. You want to be protected, and you want to make sure you were going to end up with that house. I mean, it happened to me in the past where I've lost a house because I didn't get title insurance, and it was on one of those flip transactions, and it was, I probably paid more in attorney fees, and I still didn't end up with the house, and then I should have got a good title policy, and then I would have known from the get-go not to even get into it.
So you were trying to save money on the title policy, which was
It's just the way the investor brought it to me. The deal, the way it was brought to me, it was brought to as it was grant deeded over, and I did a transaction before where I would just refinance a property and then go ahead and flip it. But in this case, it was the there was a third party on the transaction on the grant deed, so they got an attorney involved, so we had to go to court, and it was just a mess. And it was because I I don't even like to recall because it just
You're
brings
blushing.
a sour taste to me.
Does it really?
Yeah,
It leaves a bitter taste in your mouth?
Yeah, I lost a lot of money in that transaction. That that was one of the reasons why I stopped investing like I did before. Because
Is that why you never told me that story before?
probably, Alex.
You never. I don't remember hearing about that, but
You're probably not the only person.
yeah, it sounds
That
like
assumes,
it sounds like Alonso doesn't want to talk about it. But you just did on the national airwaves, and I'm trying to understand.
Well, because I'm venting now.
You're venting. You're saying you should have got the title insurance. So that's the recommendation to the listeners. Do not cut corners and use the protection mechanisms that are put in place. Title insurance happens to be one of those protection mechanisms, and our esteemed guests are here to talk to us about that today. So earlier we talked about the prelim. There's more than just the buyer looking at the prelim. There's the real estate agent. I know I read them, and what you guys were saying is that now you have the underwriters looking at them as well as yourselves. So I know Lisa, you're kind of out you're like the point person. You're out helping out the real estate agents understand that your company's out there, and you're helping them out when you find an issue on the prelim, right? So are you taking the time to read all of these? I mean, that sounds like a lot of work.
No, it is a lot of work, absolutely. But with Patty Tartanian, which is my partner, she definitely works the inside because we definitely want to provide that service for our client. She definitely, especially when it comes to the short sales. Right now, I mean, I know there's not a lot of short sales right now, but there still is, and we do have a program and to help the realtor every week. And that's what Patty does. Why don't you explain that to them, Patty?
Well, I think
Do I have enough time to
I think we're
explain?
coming up on a break.
Yeah,
so
we have
my-
about a minute, I think.
No, I think we're less than a minute. We're coming
You
down
can
in
make it quick.
seconds.
Okay.
Actually,
So
we're there.
Okay.
Thank you, Mr. Pantalones. Don't touch that mouse.
stay tuned. We'll be right back with some more real estate rant.
Add some crazy flavor to your vape pen. You're looking for something new and exciting in liquid vapor? Go to Crazy Cloud's e-juice. Find them at burstoflavor.com and try any of the new 12 flavors they have available. Blueberry, mint, raspberry, chocolate, gummy bear, hemp, watermelon, cola, orange, pina colada, coconut, or red bully. Call us today at 855-WE-BURST or visit us at burstoflavor.com and order yours today.
The Share Foundation is the health division of the Coy Chiropractic Institute, a 501c3 509A2 public nonprofit organization dedicated to the growth and development of the natural healthcare services, in particular through the chiropractic profession, offering health services at the Share clinics in the greater Los Angeles area. Your donations can help in expanding these facilities across the nation, research programs, and public education, thus offering a solution to the many of the health challenges we face. Your donations are tax deductible and can be sent through our website at www.sharefoundation.com. That's www.cherfoundation.com by clicking on the donation button. Thank you.
The experts know that for pastry, Baker's Bodega has it all. Exclusive brands like Westco Bankmark, Satin Ice, and Pastry Pride. One-on-one day seminars for cake decorating and gelatin art. So for our service, wide range of ingredients and supplies, and for the low prices, Baker's Bodega has it all. But you don't need to be an expert. Baker's Bodega, 7869 Paramount Boulevard in Pico Rivera. Come, we're waiting for you.
Hey, bro, this is a good game. You know what would make it better?
What, bro?
A michelada.
A michelada? What's a michelada?
A michelada is somewhere in the middle of a Mexican Bloody Mary and a Mexican margarita.
Oh, I got you covered, bro.
You got a cup in your pocket?
No, sir. I got my pocket-sized michelada. Mucho macho michelada.
Pocket size?
Pocket size, so you can take it with you anywhere you go.
Where'd you get that at?
At the nearest convenience store, and you can also buy it at muchomachomichelada.com.
You know what will make it better? After we get drunk, if they had a line we can call.
We can call their drunk line. You can leave a message and then log on to the site and listen to your stupidity afterwards.
What's that number?
It's 855-MICHE-69.
What's that number again?
855-MICHE-69.
Awesome. Mucho macho michelada.
What's up, guys? Sports Guru
and Butt Knocker
from the Sportscast, Wednesdays, 12 to 2 Pacific on Rant Radio Network.
We got everything you need to know about sports. We got all the latest video highlights. We got You Got Knocked the Fuck Out. We got Bonehead of the Week. We're talking sports, drinking beer, and having a good time.
If you missed the show, go to rantradionetwork.com and listen on demand. So check us out every Wednesday, 12 to 2 on Rant Radio Network.
Live from the Rant Radio Network,
You're listening to Real Estate Rant with your host, Alex Alanis,
and your co-host, Mr. Alonso Rodriguez.
No problems, just solutions for real estate needs, hot topics, and controversial chat. And we are back here at the Real Estate Rant here at the Rant Radio Network, the Towers.
Another beautiful day here at the
Another
studio.
beautiful day, bottom of, or actually top of the hour. Now that we've changed the times to the show, give us a call, 855-693-4897. I'm your host, Mr. Alex Alanis, and to my left here, my
not so talented co-host,
my broker, Mr. Alonso Rodriguez. You can email us at realestaterantradio@gmail.com, or you can give us a call, 855-693-4897. Let's throw up the design deal again. What do you have there, Mr. Pantalones? There we go. If you happen to know what kind of house this is and you have a multiple choice answer, to make it easy, or you can always use Wikipedia if you decide to cheat and win that $25 gift card. Give us a call, 855-693. Exactly. 855-693-4897. We were talking a little bit about the title prelim and who looks at it. I would like to think that most realtors are out there reading the title prelim and understanding the title prelim and explaining it to their clients, because their clients do have to sign a title acknowledgement with the escrow company. But that's not always happening, is it?
No, and I don't think that many people just take it as just another piece of paper that we're rolling through escrow with. It's very important, the prelim, that for no cost, the title companies will provide on each one of these prelims copies of all exceptions and plotted easements, so the buyer can actually look at both of those, the copy of documents and the plotted easements, in case they're going to be building or improving their home. They need to know where the easements are so they don't run into problems. So it's not just something they should be provided and just sign off and just say it's okay, they're just easements and they're CC&Rs. I had one little example of someone that didn't read the CC&Rs, which was a Lake Arrowhead piece of property, which was lakefront for a main six, and bought the house and signed off on the prelim without any problems whatsoever, and decided to chop down 2 trees to improve his view. He was already on the water to begin with, but sometimes you got to improve the view a little bit.
Nice.
By doing this, about a month later, he got a bill from ALA, which is who owns the lake, for $335,000 for chopping those trees down. And came to First American, the title company, to help him out, because he didn't realize he couldn't do that. And when we looked at his prelim and his policy, the CC&Rs were right there on his policy, which means he took exception to that. So he bought it subject to those CC&Rs, which simply said,
don't chop the trees.
Don't chop them on. Conditions, covenants, and restrictions.
Yeah, right. It's a good thing.
And it simply says it's a restricted thing to do.
Right.
But this is the reason why. And let me play devil's advocate here for a second. So I'm buying a house and I'm looking at this lakefront property and I'm seeing all this. As a layman, and let's say I'm in the glass industry, right? I see, I'm getting a title policy, so my realtor's taking care of me here, and I'm seeing it as a protection mechanism, right? But in reality, what we should be doing is we should be looking at the title prelim and look at what's going on, so we understand what's happening.
Right. It is
not just assume that it's protecting us.
No, you're correct. It does protect your interest as title to the property. That's correct. But there are also exceptions in there that show on the policy, which you buy it, but it's subject to certain items. The easements, where easements are the right for someone else to use your property. So you're buying this subject to that. The CCNR, same things. You can buy this house, but there are certain restrictions in there that may restrict you to do things. Maybe the color of the house that you're painting, where you can put your setbacks, or how far you can build over. They're all important items that you need to take a look at. And again, it's free. We can provide a copy of it to you for free. And so if you're not doing that, again, it's something I would suggest all parties, even if we have consumers on the phone or on the radio show, that again, you should take a look at that, because I think everyone assumes somebody else looked at it. But in this case, we don't know what the buyer is going to do to the property. We don't know what they have in mind, if they're going to build a second story. Another issue that comes up a lot is building a second story.
Well, you talked about cutting down trees. I kind of have a funny story real quick. I sold the house here in Whittier, and the homeowners, bought the house, and the boyfriend thought, he wanted to, because it was an REO property, it had been sitting for 2 or 3 years. The shrubs had grown on the fence all the way on the side of the property, pretty extensively. So he thought it would be cute to go and start cutting this shrub down. Well, the shrub was actually the neighbor's. It was in the ground on the other side of the fence. So as he's cutting this off of the fence on his side, the shrub actually fell over on the other side, right? Well, the neighbor was furious, obviously. Something like that, would that affect title?
Well, I can tell a quick story about how we defended a gentleman in Beverly Hills. Beverly Hills actually has an ordinance that the bushes can only be 6 feet tall. And our insured was sued by the neighbor in the back because he felt his bush was 8 feet tall. And we had to defend him because, again, he was protected under his policy for his title was being affected, and went to court. And the two parties which have too much money to spend but wanted to fight over bushes or shrubs, and it caused the city of Beverly Hills to write about a 1-inch thick document to define what a bush was and what a shrub was.
Nice.
And luckily, after debating this in court for quite some time, the gentleman got to keep his shrub at 8 feet tall.
Nice. Is there a difference between title and title insurance?
Title insurance is the policy that you get when you close escrow. That's the insurance policy. I'll go back a little bit here. Title companies and title insurance companies, there are two different entities. There's about a handful of title insurance companies right now, probably in America, and most of the other ones are title agents, which in Los Angeles alone, I believe there are actually at least 50 title agents alone. Each one of them has to have a title insurance company, which they issue the policy under the title insurance company. So if you have a claim under the policy, you're not dealing with your title agent, you're dealing with the title insurance company.
When we see the title prelim come over, though, it has their company name on it, though, right?
Well, First American has, obviously, we issue our own, but yes, if it's a title agent, it should be at least disclosing that information about who the title insurance company will be ultimately.
Yeah, I don't think I've ever seen that. Have you ever seen that on a title prelim?
No, I haven't.
Some of them have them. Yeah, some of them have them like in the cover.
But then again, I'm like one of the guys that don't read it. I'm just signing here.
Or who doesn't buy a policy.
Yeah, or
Well,
probably would be
see,
on
that's
the
the thing.
policy.
That's the thing about brokers, right?
See, Patty doesn't talk, but when she talks,
everybody listens.
You don't read them anyway. So.
Yeah. Well, my experience is the brokers just sit there and live off the fat of the land.
Yeah, obviously, you work with me, Alex. So
Yeah, so
right?
Alonso's like, "Hey, Alex, I'm about to close this deal. Take a look at this prelim for me." That's how it works out. Okay, so now we're getting to the crux of it all. And actually, when we were interviewing, what was it, a couple weeks back, I really was in awe when we started talking about this. Okay, so let me just come out and ask the question. All right, do you guys ever encounter any fraud?
Never.
Give me the long of it, there, Lee.
The long of it,
Right.
I'd say it's becoming. I'm not going to call it common, but I would say we do have a lot of. I'm not even going to say it's daily, but I think every day we're watching closer and closer as to documents that are being presented, scenarios that are being presented to us. We've taken a lot of preventive measures on our part about red flag scenarios that we see. Before it used to see just a grant deed might have been forged or whatever, but they've expanded out to it's now all type of documents, whether it's a grant deed, a deed of trust that's being forged, reconveyances probably from about 2008 to almost 2011. That was like the hot topic. You'd think you'd get into short sales and there'd be nothing to worry about. But you got parties that are then using false reconveyances to basically have the property be free and clear, and then the bad guy sells the property, or the seller then sells the property. If the title company bites into the reconveyances and clears them, then you got a seller that got a whole bunch of money, and not rightly so. And then all of a sudden, next we know, we'll get the lender foreclosing, and we're wondering how that happened. But it's there was a gentleman. To a quick story on fraud, but there was a gentleman in Los Angeles who was basically the life of me for about 2 years. He was he bought a piece of property, he'd refinance it, and then six
job
weeks after,
justification.
yeah, 6 weeks after he would refinance it, he would use a reconveyance and reconvey the deed of trust, meaning he's free and clear again. He created his own reconveyances. He would then go refinance again, and 6 weeks later he would reconvey again. Did this 8 times.
Wow.
God actually was, I think he was almost laughing at us as an industry, because he actually took he actually had his wife dial. He used an affidavit of death where his wife supposedly died. When looking at the death certificate, it was done like 2 years ago and somebody else in Florida, but he put his wife's name in there. She died, and then he brought her back, or then he brought another person back in with the same name, and then they died. So he was just, was a gentleman that was just too creative. He actually created his own notary seal, used that for a while, but he actually was about 8 different times he did this, so ended up with about $2.4 million. Where
My goodness.
I was on the phone with the district attorney that if they weren't going to get him, I was going to get him, because we were tired of it. And the importance of title insurance on this, that's 8 deeds of trust against 1 piece of property, each believing they're in first position.
My goodness.
So there was a lot of checks to be written on this one.
And let me say that here at the Real Estate Rant, we do not purport that kind of activity. either any of the agents at AGR and Associates and any of the individuals here in the studio today.
Oh no, I like my freedom, Alex.
Yeah,
I don't wanna be
exactly.
sitting behind bars.
So please, listeners, don't do that. Okay,
Yeah,
don't
but
get any ideas.
But to continue, I mean, he actually was arrested. Had $600,000 in the bank. Actually, the DA actually called him when they actually arrested the guy, put him in jail. He actually orchestrated another one while he was in jail, and did another property somewhere else. They let him out, came out, did it again, had him arrested again, throw him back into jail again, and finally get down to going to the mayor and the board of supervisors just to, just lock this guy down, because he's a menace to all of us. So it just
wow.
And you wonder how as a homeowner can you protect yourself for stuff like that happening, like frauds and not knowing what's going on in your property.
We'll be right back. Don't touch that mouse.
I always get the
Patty
commercial.
keeps getting cut off every time.
Stay tuned. We'll be right back with some more Real Estate Rant.
Looking for a delicious, fresh family meal that's ready when you are and easy on your budget? Welcome to Piara Pizza. We make our pizzas with handmade dough, 100% real cheese, and tomato sauce blended with our own spices. Nothing is ever frozen. We always have large pepperoni and cheese pizzas fresh and waiting for you for only $5. Or choose one of our specialty pizzas. We have veggie, meat lovers, supreme, and Hawaiian. Add an order of our amazing hot wings, cheesy bread, or breadsticks. Our locations are ultra modern, ultra clean, and open 7 days a week. Visit any one of our locations today, or check us out on the web at www.piarapizza.com. Piara Pizza. Fresh, hot, and ready for you when you come in. Stop in for your Piara Pizza today.
ProTech Carpet Tile and Care provides professional cleaning services for carpet, tile, grout, upholstery, and fine area rugs.
ProTech technicians are professionally trained and certified cleaning and restoration experts.
We specialize in restoring damage caused by heavy soil and odor.
We can remove challenging spots such as coffee, tea, ink, gum, wine, and many more.
We have saved our customers thousands of dollars on new flooring and furniture expenses with our advanced cleaning processes.
Call for a free estimate at 562-447-4300 and visit us on our website, www.myprotectsite.com.
Hey, this is Joe Perez, owner at Protect. Just reminding you that Protect Carpet and Tile Care is your professional choice.
What's wrong? I can't stop craving a cigarette. I just quit. Hey, what are you smoking on?
Oh, this? Best e-juice on the planet. Burst of flavor, of course.
What's that?
Only the best alternative to smoking with a great flavor. It has a burst of flavor in every puff.
Well, does it have nicotine?
It comes in different levels, including 0. They have 20 flavors and more coming. All the products are made in the U.S. Check them out at www.burstoflavor.com or call them at 855-WE-BURST.
Hey, let's burst together.
It's not just flavor, it's an experience. Cigarettes, you've met your match.
Looking for some swag? Make sure to check out monsterclothing.com. They got everything from v-necks, t-shirts, hoodies, baby dolls. And remember, custom orders are always welcome and much more. They're just not on the site yet. www.monsterclothingco.com or call them at 888-49-MONSTER. 888-49-MONSTER. Hablamos español. Doo-doo-doo!
Everyone, even Elvis loves Firehouse Chefs.
Catch FHC Radio every Wednesday from 8 to 9 p.m. on the Rant Radio Network.
Live from the Rant Radio Network,
you're listening to Real Estate Rant with your host, Alex Alanis,
and your co-host, Mr. Alonso Rodriguez.
No problems, just solutions for real estate needs, hot topics, and controversial chat.
Welcome back to Rant Radio Network. I'm Lisa, and we're going to be talking with Patty here regarding how to protect the homeowner.
Yeah, so after this commercial, I wanted to say something. Well, how do you protect homeowners from fraud, and what do you do as far as at having the homeowner educated? So there's a few ways. There's one thing that we have, and a homeowner could actually register. It's called ePropertyWatch.com, and that helps consumers get a free property alerts on their property. It gives the local sales, foreclosures in the neighborhood, and liens on the home, and estimate value of the home.
Now it's talking about, like, if I owned a home, I could go onto this website. Does it cost me anything?
It doesn't cost anything. It just basically gives you alerts in the area of what's going on. If there's been a
recent sale or anything like that.
And also you will know if somebody tries to do fraud on your house, like Lee said, that there's a lot of special vacant lots and everything. You will know that there's something going on, and this will alert the neighborhood that something is going on. If they keep putting those deeds, like going back and forth, like Lee Wilson was mentioning earlier.
Now, is this something put out by First American, or is this something put out by somebody else in the industry?
I believe it's something that was for CoreLogic.
It's our CoreLogic, which it's
okay.
not a First American company, but it's called CoreLogic.
So this is just a free service. It's out there on the
internet. It's a free service. It's really, if I was an agent, this is something that would actually help the consumer, and it really will kind of give you an education too for the consumer, because not only that, they'll feel more comfortable where they live. And at the same token, what's going in the area as far as foreclosures and notice of defaults, and you get to know your neighbors in the area.
Pretty much, it's a gossip line to know who's paying their bills and who's not.
Who got married, who got divorced.
Well, how far does this go out? I mean, can I search Santa Barbara? I mean, that.
I believe so. You probably can. Yeah, it actually comes out with a monthly update at the end of the month. It'll tell you what they believe at the one time, what your value of your property is, and it'll tell you if it's gone up or down throughout the month based on the.
Boy, did he just say that right now?
On the stuff,
Lee, you know what?
I gotta go the negative.
That is my sore subject. Let me tell you, I actually sat there with an individual. We actually filed a lawsuit against Chase currently that's going on. And he's sitting there and he's saying, Alex, can you give me the fair market value on this property? And I said, well, I'm not an appraiser. I'm a real estate agent. So people throw that word around a lot. And I said, I'm doing a comparative market analysis, and it's actually based on statistics. CoreLogic happens to be one of those companies. It does AVMs, and there's algorithms involved in all of that. But But this is a sore subject for me because, and this is why I'm bringing it up, because when you say value, none of these free websites give you that, and people need to understand that. Because boy, when I get a listing on a property, they come up to me, oh, look it, this particular free website says it's worth this, Alex. I want to list for this. I said, okay, let's list it. Let's see how many phone calls you get.
And you got to understand Alex' passion about appraisal. He used to be an appraiser before. That's why
I was a senior review appraiser for the third largest lender in the country. I also worked on the Alice Buyback program for Wall Street. I did all 50 states.
Nice.
Yeah, so I consider myself to be an expert. And let me tell
Yeah,
you.
so when someone tells you it's worth
it's like a thorn in
yeah.
my side. Let me tell you when somebody says that. But I'm not trying to correct you there, Lee. I just wanted to point that out, that we have to be careful about certain information that's being spit out by the internet as free, and then what they're calling it.
Right.
So back to the eProperty Watch. So is this something I could set up for my clients?
Yes.
And it's going to their
It's going directly to their email address.
Well, so it's like you're probably like, I own a home.
Yeah.
And I put my property address in there. So I'm on the site right now. So if any liens or anything that comes up on my home, I'm going to be notified. And if any NODs come in my neighborhood, I'm going to be notified as well too.
But you can put filters as to the distance, because I talked about if I have a home in Whittier, why would I be getting information from Santa Barbara?
No.
You can put filters on it.
Oh, no, I thought you meant if you had a property.
No,
in
it's
Santa
just in the
Barbara.
surround. Yeah, it's just in the surrounding area.
Okay, I see.
Yeah.
I see.
And just once again, I just wanted to give you that website. I mean, if the consumer would like to do that for their own home, it's epropertywatch.com.
Yeah, just like it sounds.
And you would just put your address on there, and then you get set up, and it tells you all the NODs going around the neighborhood. Because you know what, I'm gonna go on and I'm gonna be at the door like, excuse me, ma'am.
That's your door knocking tool now, isn't
Yeah,
it?
it's like,
Now, Lee, you said something earlier. You were telling us a story about this gentleman that was going around with his fake notary seal.
Yes, sir.
I mean, do printing companies, can they make fake notary seals? Or not printing, but the people that make the stamps.
Yeah, they're very good at it too, and then they understand. With I don't know if the printing company does it or whatever, but they're very good about the bad guys. They're very good about reproducing notary seals. Another thing about the notary, an actual notary, if they lose their seal, they basically get another seal, but there's a small little variation in the seal, so it still looks like the same one, and actually they have a commission number that still remains the same. So even the person that has the stolen one, it's very hard to determine whether it's the stolen one or the wrong one. So some of the county DAs in Riverside, I believe he had an idea that should use a scan bar at the county recorder. So every time you're trying to record something, that the notary has a little scan bar that the county can use to go through to find out if it's a valid seal or not. It might stop a lot of this fraud that's going on when they start stolen notary seals or they're making up their own. It could stop a lot of that, but again, that's just
There's something I saw in a movie once. I think it was it might have been 1984, the movie 1984. I don't remember who the author was of that book, but they talked about putting a number on each person. And as you guys are sitting here talking about this, that's what's coming to mind.
George Greenwald.
Don't you have a number 7 on your
1984,
glasses right here?
I think it's an F. If I remember, if I go like this, it's a 7. Right? But now that's all coming to mind, and that's kind of a sickening thought. But we all get a barcode tattoo,
Right.
and then we can avoid that kind of fraud. And I hate to say it, but that you heard that first here at the Rant Radio Network. Real estate rant. So always get that.
patent it right now.
Yeah, exactly. Let's trademark that. I have an attorney.
Just gave it out to everyone right now.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
They're all running with it.
Here's a word that I hear a lot of, and I'm not sure I know what this is. What is a demand? I heard that a lot.
Go ahead, Pat.
I'll let Patty. She's
Bati, what do you think about that?
the expert on this.
Well, I know I did my little homework here.
Right on.
With the amount letter, it provides an escrow and a title company with the amount needed to pay a current mortgage. That's what a demand is.
It's a demand.
1984.
Okay, but is that the movie? Who was the author of that book? Mr. Pantalon, do you have your mic in there? So demand has to do with what's owed on the property. You're asking the lender to tell the the title company
And the escrow company.
and the escrow company how much money they owe on the
That
property.
is correct, uh-huh.
Okay. You know,
it's like saying I demand you to pay me.
right? Yeah, isn't that funny? They use
Like
that
an
word.
IOU or
Yeah,
something.
because people they'll put a demand. Oh, put a $20,000 demand, and then you got to pay it before you can close your escrow.
Right, we require all this in writing. A demand is something in writing from a lender so we can make the payoff. We don't just call them up or do anything electronically over the phone with them. We do require a written demand to make payoffs.
Right on. Okay. Well, that would make sense. I would hate to think you guys are just making a phone call and, well, not you guys, but the escrow companies are making a phone call and getting that information. I know you gave me the long version, Lee, about a sting operation that you guys worked on.
Yes, sir.
Can you give me the short of it? We're kind of up against time a little bit.
Okay, well, the short version of it was that we had a piece of property that was in Burbank, and the preliminary title report was issued, and one of my employees was looking at the prelim and looking at the documents, and everybody was in a hurry to close. And she looked at it, and the property was free and clear. There was no deeds of trust on the prelim. She looked at the chain though, and saw two deeds of trust, one for $1 million, the other one for $500,000, which had recently been in default and then were reconveyed. And so she began to question it. I asked her to. Looks like we had a social security number for the seller. We checked with the lender, found out one of them had a balance of $1.1 million, and the other one was $600,000. So they were not paid off. We contacted the DA and the LAPD, and they got together, and they were willing to act as a notary to see if we could catch whoever this was.
Oh, nice.
And we'd asked them to come into First American Title to sign the grant deed. The gentleman refused, which got a little nerve-wracking. We asked the escrow if we could do it there, and they were willing to do that. The escrow company was unaware of this the whole time. It was
Really?
only me, our attorney, and the LAPD. They went there on a Friday afternoon at 2 o'clock. The gentleman came in with two other parties, signed it, and they felt that the signature didn't match very well. He went outside where the police were. They arrested him there with two other individuals, opened up his trunk and found passports, driver's license, and notary seals all in the back of his trunk, about 100 of them. So it was quite a good.
Yeah. So lesson being, if you're gonna be doing this stuff, don't be carrying around your
don't
fake
leave it in your
passports.
trunk. Don't leave it
Yeah,
in your
that's dumb. You know. God.
What the hell is wrong with you?
Yeah, exactly. I mean,
And the property was vacant. The seller had vacated the property 3 months before that. Yes.
Yes. Real quick, we are up against time. I want to say we have about a minute left. We talked a little bit about CLTA and ALTA policies, and the difference between them.
Well, it's basically off-record matters is really the biggest difference between the CLTA policies, which is basically back to the backwards insurance and just basically insuring you as the owner of the property. The ALTA provides off-record matters, extends the coverage, same as the lenders. The old school was it's what the lenders got and what the owners didn't get, but now in today's world, everybody gets basically the same policy. So it really comes down to the differences is off-record matters under the ALTA coverage.
And there's that word again, extends. What is it? What is what is extended coverage?
Extended coverage for an owner?
Yeah.
Okay, that requires an ALTA survey, meaning we have a surveyor. A surveyor is paid to go out to the property and actually uses our prelim to create a survey, so we're actually able to understand exactly where the property lines are, and whatever's on that survey is what we're insuring as the owner, as what the buyer is buying. Not like normally where it's just lot 7. In this case, we're insuring what's ever on the survey.
All right, well, we're coming up to the end of the show. Thanks for joining us, folks, here at the Rant Radio Network and the Real Estate Rant. We'll see you next week. Same time, same place.
Make sure you stay tuned for Indy 104. Thanks for tuning in to Real Estate Rant Radio.
Make sure to join us every Wednesday at 10 a.m.
on the Rant Radio Network, where we talk about solutions to your real estate problems. The views and opinions expressed by the host or any guest on this show are encouraged to be followed up by a professional tax advisor or attorney, as we are not qualified or authorized to give advice in two areas: legal matters and tax matters.